quarterback playoff teams. They can run the ball well enough. They can play defense with anybody in the National Football League. Atlanta has more problems. They can run the ball well enough. They can throw the ball well enough, but they can't defense either well enough. They drafted 5 defensive players in the first 5 rounds, and they've moved their secondary around, and they appear to be more ready to play sound defense. Let's find out.
Well, the Saints have won the toss of the coin. They've elected to receive, and kicking off for the Atlanta Falcons this afternoon will be the veteran Mick Luckhurst. Back deep for the New Orleans Saints, Jitter Fields, the rookie from Texas, on the left side of your screen, and Kenny Duckett, number 83, on the right side. Atlanta, 4th in the NFC West last year. Here we go. Brand new NFL season underway. Duckett fields it 5 yards deep. Will not run it out. Touchback. 1st and 10 for the Saints from their 20. This is the way they will line up. The one new face in the starting lineup, Richard Todd, the quarterback, obtained from the New York Jets in exchange for a #1 draft choice. And George Rogers, one of the top runners, certainly in professional football. The offensive line sports one new face, one new starter in Steve Court. An All-American Arkansas, played guard last year, has been moved to center to replace the veteran John Hill. So here's the Saints' first snap of the regular season from their own 20-yard line. And the pitch goes to Rodgers. Big hole over the right side, cutting outside across the 30. And he's got the first down as he takes it to the 35. A pickup of 16 yards by Rodgers on the first play from scrimmage. Buddy Curry, the middle linebacker, came over to make the stop.
The tight end on the right-hand side of your screen, number 85, did a super job of hook blocking John Rady, the linebacker. Therefore, Pokey Gajon is right out there, number 46, looking for someone to hit. They're going to have to play better outside linebacker defense to stop this big horse.
That's a big problem that Atlanta had last year, was stopping the rush. So you know they're going to be tested by the Saints in that department. 1st and 10, 16-yard pickup by Rodgers. Saints moving from their 36. Single back setup with Rodgers, who gets the call over the right side out to the 38-yard line. He needs just 34 yards today, does Rodgers, to become the Saints' all-time leading rusher. Defensively, we'll set up Atlanta for you. Gary Burley and Rick Bryan are new faces. Bryan is the #1 draft pick. Burley is a 9-year veteran, obtained in a trade last week from Cincinnati. The linebackers are a veteran bunch, anchored by Buddy Curry in the middle. And the deep backs likewise. Remember Kenny Johnson last year from that Green Bay Atlanta game we did, where he ran 2 interceptions back for touchdowns. 2nd down, 7. Saints at their 38. You saw Todd motion to the wide receiver, Lindsey Scott, to come back inside. Todd fumbles the football trying to throw, and let's see who's got it. Saints managed to recover for the loss back at the 31-yard line. That'll cost him a half dozen yards, but at least they retain possession.
Frank, Richard had good time to throw the ball, but the defense had taken away the pattern downfield. Now let's take a look at it at ground level. You'll see that Richard dropped straight back. He has plenty of time. He's looking to his right. He's sitting. Now a defender came in and knocked the ball out of his hand. Then it's a mad scramble.
It looked like Steve Court, the center, was the man who recovered the ball for the Saints. Now they're looking at a 3rd down and 14 upcoming, back at their 31-yard line. Falcons showing blitz. And here they come after Todd trying to get it away. He does. Intended for Goodlow, number 88. Defended by James Britt, number 26. They got a marker down behind the line of scrimmage. Illegal use of hands against the Saints will be declined because it sets up a punting situation.
Holding, number 60 offense, penalty refused, 4th down.
Gene Barth, the referee, giving you the call.
You know, you can use your hands in pass protection, but you can't get him outside the plane of the body. Now, see number 60 right there in the center of your screen? He's got his left hand outside the plane of the man's body, holding.
New punter for the Saints this year, rookie Brian Hansen, who beat out the veteran Russell Erxleben. Billy White Shoes Johnson is the deep man. White Shoes at the 38, 40, 45, 50, 40. One man to beat, caught from behind. and dropped at the 26. So White Shoes comes through with a big return. The first time the Falcons touched the football. And Atlanta will have a 1st and 10 at the New Orleans Saints 26 when we come back right after this. 37 yards on the punt return by Billy White Shoes Johnson, who is chasing Rick Upchurch, and will this year become the NFL's all-time leading punt returner. So excellent field position for the Falcons. The ball is spotted at the Saint 27-yard line, and Steve Bartkowski is at the throttle. They go with the single back setback in Gerald Riggs, number 42. And Riggs will take it down to the 21-yard line. Take a look at that punt return by White Shoes.
Look at the concentration on the ball. Now he starts straight upfield. The defenders do not come to balance. They overrun him. He gets very few blocks. They were too intense in their coverage and forgot to break down and come to balance so they could close in and make the tackle.
Billy needs 206 yards worth of punt returns this year to pass Rick Upchurch and become the NFL's all-time leading punt returner in the yardage department. 2nd and 5. Falcons at the Saint 22. Riggs up the middle. Hit hard at the line of scrimmage and shoved back. He may have picked up a yard, but no more than that. Here's the Falcons offensive lineup. The new faces in there. Benson is a rookie at the H-back. And Riggs, of course, will replace William Andrews. He's a 4-year veteran. Falcons offensive line. Key people there, the left side, R.C. Tillman and Mike Ken, who have both been Pro Bowlers for the last 3 years. They'll go a lot in that direction. 3rd down and 5 needed for the first down at the 21-yard line. That's White Shoes Johnson in motion. Rushes on Bartkowski, floats it into the end zone. Incomplete. The intended receiver, number 82, Stacy Bailey, who tried to stay in bounds, keep his concentration going.
You'll see that they were very close to each other. Bump and run coverage from the line of scrimmage is just outside the reach of his hands right there. He can almost hold on to the football. Close is not enough.
So a field goal attempt for Mick Luckhurst. This will be from the 29-yard line. He drop kicked an extra point attempt in a preseason game. But this will be legitimate. It is long enough, and it is good. 37-yard field goal by Luckhurst, and the Falcons lead the Saints 3-0. So Atlanta leading New Orleans, a team that they lost to twice last year and also lost to in preseason this year. The score in that preseason game was 31-21. Saints wound up 3-1 in the preseason. Atlanta wound up 1-3 in the preseason. But keep in mind they were 1-3 4 years ago in 1980. And they wound up going 12-4 in the regular season. Jitter Fields on the left and Kenny Duckett on the right. Awaiting the kick from Mick Luckhurst. This is returnable. Duckett at the 2, 10, 15, hit at the 20 and dives forward to the 25, and we get a marker. There it is.
Frank, you called it a marker.
Well, I like to change it up. Occasionally we call it a hanky, flag, marker.
Probably pushing.
Invariably, it'll be against the receiving team. That'll move it back to the 13.
Illegal block in the back, yeah. Number 19 during the run back. First down.
Here it is, number 19. See him right there pushing number 55 from back? Definitely a good call by side judge Gary Austin.
That's Guido Merkins of the Saints, number 19. Accused of the penalty, so Saints come up in poor field position. First down from their 12-yard line. Second offensive possession of the day. And Todd is caught behind the line and spun down at the 2-yard line. Big rush. That time blowing through was Gary Burley, one of the newest of the Atlanta Falcons. He's been with the club just a week.
Gary Burley will be rushing right over the guard there. Now you can see him coming from the left side of your screen. You'll see him appear. There he comes right there. No place to go, and he had a man wide open downfield, Frank.
Well, the officials will mark it at the 3-yard line.
2nd and 20.
Not the place you want to be, not the way you want to start out a season. Todd throwing from the end zone under pressure, caught for a safety. It's a safety. This time it was Rick Bryan, number 77, the rookie, number 1 draft pick from right tackle, exerting the pressure on Richard Todd, and that makes the score 5-0 in favor of the Falcons.
Now you're going to see he gets back into the end zone. Now follow the quarterback back. He sits back there. I can't understand why an experienced quarterback just didn't unload it right now. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. He had time to unload the football, Frank. Prevent the safety. Don't you think so?
I believe it. Second-year head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Dan Henning, former quarterback in the NFL with San Diego. Once upon a time was on the same staff with this man, Bum Phillips.
Yeah, way back at the San Diego Chargers day, when Dan was a quarterback, Bum was coaching the defensive line for Sid Gilman.
Free kick following the safety. Brian Hansen, the rookie punter, will handle it for New Orleans. This obviously is not the way that the Saints wanted to start. Billy Johnson in the center of that receiving formation, and it will be White Shoes at the 22, 30, 35, across the 40 and up to the 44-yard line. Guys, still excitement personified. Jimmy Rogers made the stop.
Nice punt by that rookie punter.
Yeah, we got a marker, and it will go against Atlanta this time for illegal use of hands on the return.
I didn't see the penalty there, nor did I see him throw the flag.
Illegal block in the back. Number 22 on the run back.
So this one is against Richard Williams off the Atlanta specialty team. It cost them penalty yardage.
Right up in the upper right-hand side of your screen now.
Pretty blatant,
Boom.
I'd say, wasn't it? Huh? I mean, there wasn't much question about that. Nor the previous one by Merkins of the Saints. 1st and 10, Falcons at their 32-yard line. Single back setup. Riggs. Another penalty flag is dropped. Dennis Winston, the linebacker on the right side, came up and got a hold of his ankle as he tried to cut upfield. Against Atlanta. Well, that's 4 penalties here in the opening moments of the ball game.
88 offense, holding, still 1st down and 20.
88 was the man in motion on that play. Arthur Cox, the tight end.
He's a free agent and made the team from last year.
Saints defense, they play that 3-man front with the veteran Derland Moore in the middle. Ricky Jackson was the only member of the Saints last year to make the Pro Bowl. And he is their top linebacker, and they've got a good group. And this group of veterans in the secondary has been playing together for 4 years now in the NFL, and the oldest guy is 25. Bartkowski on the delay going up the middle to Riggs. And he takes it to about the 30. Gerald Riggs has some big shoes to fill. He's a former number 1 draft pick from Arizona State. And as you mentioned last week on our telecast, you know, it's a terrible misfortune to lose a guy like Andrews, but that's a place where they've got some depth.
They do have depth, and this fine young man is talented. You know, he's a number 1 pick. You never really replace an Andrews because he's such a great player, maybe one in his, just a class by himself. But this guy will do a good job for him.
2nd down, 14 for the Falcons at their 28-yard line. White Shoes in motion. Again, it's Riggs fighting his way across the 30 to the 32-yard line. How would you compare Riggs with Andrews in style?
Well, I think Riggs is a little faster, but I don't think he's quite as powerful in shedding tacklers up through, especially inside. Maybe a little more mobile in the open field. Andrews will look a safety up and try to run him down. But again, Andrews is in a class by himself, really. Especially in terms of that one-back running attack. The big thing he has to do now is forget the injury and give it all the time he can in terms of rehabilitation efforts.
3rd down, 11. Johnson in the slot off to the right. Now White Shoes starts in motion, and we get movement prior to the snap. It was a 3rd and 11 play. And Gene Barth.
False start, 61 offense.
Now they're looking at 3rd down and 16 as the penalty was against John Scully, starting guard, number 61. Interesting that you coached Gerald Riggs in an all-star game, and we asked him about it yesterday, and he said, man, it was like being with Frank Kush again. You gave him a tough time, apparently.
I was put in good company when he said that. I appreciate that. No, Frank Kush, fine football coach. But we ran an intense camp for a all-star type game.
4 penalties already in this ball game in the early going. Fans chanting defense. 3rd down and 16 needed for the 1st down as Bartkowski rolls out and airs it out downfield. Jackson fell, and the pass was almost picked off by Johnny Pohl, number 25, as Jackson hit the deck, and he is very unhappy and letting the officials know that he at least thinks he was tripped.
Here he's coming back to the inside, and he was tripped. It's incidental contact. Actually, he stepped on Poe's right foot. I don't think there was any pass interference here. The ball should have been intercepted, Frank. Look at Poe bobbling right there.
So the Falcons will be doing the punting now. Ralph Giacomaro is their kicker. And the deep man is the rookie from the University of Texas, Jitter Fields. Fields signals for the fair catch and fields it at the 36-yard line. And that's where the Saints will put it in play with 8 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the opening period here at the Louisiana Superdome. 37 yards on the punt, no return, timeout. Atlanta leads it 5-0. 1st and 10, Saints ball at their 36-yard line. They trail by a score of 5-0 midway in the opening period. Rogers takes the handoff from Todd across the 40, and the hard-running fullback is up to the 42-yard line. He was bothered by a knee injury most of last year, but has come back strong.
Now watch right to the right of the center. You'll see the center number 60, Court, and Louis Aubry, number 66, do a pretty good job on the nose tackle, Burley. Now see them both come off together. They're going to knock him off the ball. Then Court comes off and tries to pick up Curry, the linebacker. Rogers has that great vision, Frank, and he cuts back in there.
He picked up 6 at 2nd and 4 at the 43-yard line. Again, they go to Rogers with Gaijon leading the blocking, and that's a 1st down as he crosses the 50 to the 40-yard line. Hokie Gaijon leading the interference for George Rogers. Pridemore came up to make the stop along with Al Richardson. Scores around the National Football League on opening day. San Diego has jumped on Minnesota in their game up in Minnesota. Bears have a field goal on Tampa Bay in the opening period. Kansas City leading Pittsburgh 7-0. Giants over the Eagles 7-3 in the 1st period. And New England 14, Buffalo 0. Our score, Atlanta 5, New Orleans 0. But the Saints are moving with a 1st down at the Atlanta 49-yard line. Richard Todd back to throw it, swings it out to the safety valve. Rogers is down to the 40 to the 39-yard line, and that's close to another 1st down for the New Orleans Saints. It's quite obvious they're trying to get the ball in the hands of Mr. Rogers at every opportunity.
You know, the one thing Rogers hasn't done is catch a touchdown pass in his career. Now you watch, he's going to drop straight back. Rogers, back of your screen now, is moving to the right. Now watch the lineman peel out. This is a screen pass out of the I formation. Now see the lineman, look at Court, number 60, looking for a guy to hit. Couldn't find anybody to hit, ran into his own man.
2nd down, less than a yard needed for the 1st down for the Saints. Nose of the football just inside the Atlanta 40-yard line. Falcons showing blitz once again. Rogers outside, dips back in, and turns what could have been a no-gain play into about a 5-yard pickup.
Hokie Gaijon, number 46, the fullback, did a real nice job of knocking down the linebacker and allowing him to go ahead and make that move outside, Frank. Did a super job.
Buddy Curry, the middle linebacker, coming up to make the stop, but the Saints have the 1st down with the nose of the ball right down inside the 35. Veteran Buddy Curry out of Georgia Tech, long a mainstay of the Falcons defense back in the days of the grit splits when he was a mere youngster. 1st and 10. Gaijon in motion. Todd giving to Rogers up the middle. This time he stopped. Nothing there for him. Big surge that time by the defensive line. That was Wayne Wilson, number 30, who came in for Rogers to give him a blow for just a second. Don Smith in on the stop along with Brian and Buddy Curry. Rodgers, with his last carry a moment ago, set the Saints' all-time rushing record. He needed just 34 yards going in. He has now surpassed Chuck Muncie. Interesting that there's a quarterback in 4th place in that category. Archie Manning, 2nd and 10 from the 35. Todd firing it over the middle, intended for Wayne Wilson. Wilson is a great all-purpose back, did an excellent job filling in last year when Rodgers missed about 3 games. In fact, Wilson stepped right in and had 100 yards rushing or better in each of those 3 games. Good receiver as well as a good runner. 3rd and 10 now from the 35-yard line.
Atlanta Falcons came after him with a red dog that time, and Richard read the red dog all right. He knew they were doing. He tried to dump it off, and I actually thought the linebacker knocked down the receiver prior to giving him an opportunity to catch it.
Growth in the slot off to the right. Lindsey Scott is up at the top of your screen, split wide on 3rd and 10. 2-yard line. Jeff Growth, number 86.
Now you watch him at the top of your screen. He's coming down inside. See him moving up on Bobby Butler, number 37. Now he turns to the outside, goes to the corner, gives him a little push with his right elbow right there. Wheels around, heads up to the goal line, almost puts it in. As Bum said yesterday, he's our pattern guy. Not great speed, just a good move man.
Great hands, certainly. It is 1st and goal to go. And the Saints trailing 5-0 have a chance to take the lead. They're at the 3-yard line. They give it to Rodgers. Guy's on with the block. He's down to the 1. Fights his way into the end zone. Touchdown. He got the excellent lead block from Guyjon, and the rest, Dick, he pretty well did himself.
Frank, he really didn't get as much help inside as he would have liked to gotten, but with his ability, his size at 230 pounds, when he turns up inside, he can get it in the end zone.
Morton Anderson is the Saints placement specialist. Merkins to hold. The kick is good, and the Saints lead it 7-5.
Now watch, his quarterback's going to toss the ball deep. See him now, he's back there deep. He looks for a place to go. He gets the pads down. He's just pounding in there, and that really is all done on his own individual strength and power, Frank.
George Rodgers, who gained 1,144 yards last year despite missing 3 games and a little bit more with a knee injury, pushing it across the final 3 yards as Morton Anderson prepares to kick off. Sylvester Stamps, number 41, highly touted rookie from Jackson State. Not highly touted before he got there, but he's really caught the attention of the Falcons coaches in the preseason. Stamps at the goal line, out to the 10, 15, 20, and that's it. Guido Merkins, number 19, in the stop, and we get a marker down. Another flag is thrown. Very late flag, as a matter of fact.
You know, Frank, that touchdown was a great individual effort on the part of George Rodgers. It really didn't look like he was going to get in there.
Again, illegal use of hands against the Falcons. While we wait here, take a look at that touchdown. Any question in your mind as to whether he got in?
At first, it didn't look like he got in, but his effort, see the big guard pull, everyone's going out there. Now watch the ball in the right hand. Watch it closely now. Keep vision on the ball. There he is. He stuck it in the end zone. Broke the plane. Touchdown. Heads-up play by an experienced running back, and a great one.
Illegal use of hands against Dave Levanek. And a lot of penalties here in the opening period. Again, the Falcons come up with the poor field position after the penalty. Moves them back to the 11-yard line. That's where they'll start. You look over the shoulder there, Bruce Clark, the big defensive lineman. They're after Bartkowski, and they've got him at the 5, and we have yet another hanky. A flag drop this time at the near sideline. And it was Bruce Clark, the young man we mentioned, defensive left end. Penalty is against Atlanta. And the loss will amount to about the same.
Illegal formation. There was no end on the right side of the line of scrimmage. Penalties refused. Second down.
They were in one of those unusual formations with all three receivers, including the H-back, split out. Evidently, the outside receiver did not get on the line of scrimmage like he should have.
Falcons are operating, keep in mind, against a team that was the #1 defensive team in the NFC last year and the #1 pass defensive team in the National Football League. Riggs trying to get it out, moves it to about the 8.
They were in the unbalanced line that time, Frank. One of the only teams that really used this as an integral part of their offense.
You think there's an advantage to an unbalanced line in this day and age?
Well, there is, the way they do it. They take an offensive tackle and put him over on the other side next to the other offensive tackle, bring the tight end over there and play him outside the guard. And you still have to play your secondary over there. If we get time through the ball game, maybe we can explain that to the fans.
3rd down, 13 for the Falcons from their 8. Bailey is wide to the left side. Jackson is split to the right. Riggs, as they stay conservative, get just a yard. Ricky Jackson, the left outside linebacker, 4th-year man from Pitt. And a Pro Bowler last year, the only Pro Bowler that the Saints had, making the stop. And it'll be the Falcons punting out of their end zone, and a big hand for the Saints defense as they leave the field.
You know, the one thing Atlanta can't allow, Frank, is to allow this defense to get really excited. Because when they do, they play above their ability, and they're really tough anyway.
Jack Amaro will be about 8 yards deep, and you're looking at Jitter Fields standing on about the 50-yard line. So once again, New Orleans ought to come out in great field position, if nothing else.
Beautiful, beautiful punt.
Boy, did he get hang time on that. Fields at the 43 to the 50. 45. What a move. 40. Woo! Wow.
Hey, no wonder they call him Jitters.
Did you see that little 360 move he put on at
Holy
about
heck.
the 50-yard line?
Oh, no.
Yep.
The hanky down.
Another marker. 2 minutes and 13 seconds left in the opening period, and they'll call at least part of this back. There's Gene Barth, the referee, saying, let's bring it back. Now you're supposed to have all these things worked out by opening day.
We got a holding foul against number 89. It was a post-possession foul. The enforcement spot is where possession changed.
So that means that Jitter Fields is going to lose the entire run back, which is unfortunate.
Penalty occurred prior, right?
Post-possession, after he got possession.
After he got the ball.
So it's marked off from where he caught it.
All right.
They caught it on about the 43, so they...
What a dazzling run.
They put 10 yards on him, which means they'll start this drive at the 33-yard line, 1st and 10.
Here's what Bums likes to do. Line up in that I formation with Rodgers really deep and give him the football. Audible.
Todd for Lindsey Scott. Good defense by Bobby Butler, number 23. And, of course, the boos rained down from above as the fans thought it should have been pass interference.
Now you can see the defender up there, Bobby Butler, number 23, right up there close. Todd saw this and went ahead and audible deep. He audible deep and darn near came with the big run. This is something they didn't have in their offense last year, Frank, and it could add a total dimension, maybe the dimension they need to get in the playoffs.
I don't believe Stabler could have thrown that pass to you.
I kind of doubt it.
Todd seems to be settling down. He started off a little shaky in this ballgame.
Yeah.
Could be a stage fright, new team, opening day. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Gaijan, the fullback, gets nothing. Again, Gary Burley, number 73, in on the tackle. Now, Burley's been with him just a week. It surprises me a little bit that he's playing as much and being as much of a factor.
Well, defensive fundamental tackle play carry over. If you're playing an even 40-type defense in Cincinnati, it can carry over into, say, a New Orleans situation or an Atlanta situation. Fundamental techniques can carry over. A little bit different than playing linebacker or running, let's say, quarterback or offensive lineman. A little bit easier.
3rd and 11 for the Saints at their 32-yard line.
Remember, Burley is also a 9-year veteran, so things come to him quickly.
He's out of the University of Pittsburgh, played at the same time that Tony Dorsett did, and was a fine defensive lineman for the Bengals, who are loaded.
You know that.
Now we got a problem with the 30-second clock, right? Which will cause us a delay here.
You know, Frank, that was the second audible that Richard Todd called. The nice corner pattern that he hit Groth and to put him down in scoring position on the 3-yard line was an audible. And maybe the fans recognized that people were moving prior to that snap. People were moving in a position to pick up blitzes and dogging linebackers, and he audibled and got the big play. That time he was trying to take advantage of that tight coverage.
Well, they've recycled the 30-second clock, stopped it at 17. Here we go. Saints 1 out of 2 so far on third down conversions. 3rd and 11 from their 32-yard line. Goodlow in motion. Richard Todd aiming for Goodlow. He's got it. Out of bounds, 45 of Atlanta. This kid is coming on strong for the New Orleans Saints. Eugene Goodlow, who spent a couple of years in Kansas, or rather in Canada.
See him moving in motion now. Now he's going upfield. He's a regular flanker back now. He gives him a little move to the inside. Now he's heading for the corner. Now it's just a one-on-one situation. The ball was right there. Could not be throwing any better. Could not be thrown better. That's all there was to it.
James Britt defending, but he had no shot at all the way that ball was thrown, as Dick pointed out. 1st and 10, Saints at the 45-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Rodgers on the pitch. Hit at the line of scrimmage, gets a couple, and then he is shoved back by the red and white wave. Rick Bryan, number 77, making the stop along with Burley.
James Britt, in defending that play as a cornerback, was a safety last year and moved to corner this year, and actually was drafted to play corner, but due to injuries and everything, he moved inside. Kenny Johnson, who played corner, Frank, last year, is now playing safety inside.
And they feel that's his natural position, and he will do very well. Atlanta has yet to pick up a first down, even though they've scored 5 points. Field goal as a result of a turnover, and then, of course, the safety. 2nd down, 8. Todd bouncing that one at the feet of the tight end, Hobie Brenner, number 85, the intended receiver. Richard was coached for a time. In fact, when he came up and was drafted by the Jets, one of the coaches on the Jets staff was Dan Henning.
Right. He coached him for his first 3 years, and he really thinks that Richard Todd's a fine quarterback. He feels really what he needs to do now is reestablish a real deep confidence level, and if he does, he'll return to the performance level of, say, 1981, when he was one of the best in the NFL.
Todd is 3 out of 7 for 63 yards. Saints at a 3rd and 9. At the Falcon 43, Falcons showing blitz. They're coming. And Todd is sacked back at the 47-yard line. Again, Bryan leading the charge along with Don Smith. Bryan 77, the rookie from Oklahoma, and Smith number 65.
Now, watching from the end zone, it appears initially that he has time, but Burley inside, there's a little stunt coming right to the right side of your screen. See Burley number 73, they just could not hold him back. He's awfully big and strong, and they list him at 273. Frank, I think he looks more like about 293.
You know, Todd now has been trapped 4 times in the first period for a loss of 29 yards. We're inside of 10 seconds to go in the quarter. Brian Hansen, the rookie, to punt. Billy Whiteshoes standing at the 14. 20. Gets outside, 25, and that's it, as he's knocked out of bounds at the 29-yard line, and the clock is run down to 00.
Bum Phillips knows that guy.
Yes. Certainly does, from his days at Houston. That's the end of the first period of play, with the Saints leading the Falcons 7-5.
I crushed a lot of quarterbacks in my day, and I'm real sorry. So I wrote this letter. Dear quarterbacks, I apologize for the way I've treated you. Please let me buy you a light beer from Miller. Light's my beer because it tastes great. I'm sure it's yours, too, because you little guys can't afford to get filled up. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, L.C. Greenwood.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less. I hear that L.C. Greenwood has invited quarterbacks to join him for a light beer from Miller. Well, here's my reply. Dear L.C., I accept your gracious offer. A quarterback is far too intelligent to turn down a light beer because it's less filling and it tastes great. Even you big, clumsy linemen know that. Hope to see you soon. Sincerely, Bert Jones. Come on, Bert!
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
How'd he do that?
A light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. Your Toyota dealer and Toyota's lowest priced hard-working truck, the Standard Bid. And by Federal Express Zapped Mail, an exact copy delivered door to door in just 2 hours. Falcons 1st and 10 at their 29-yard line following the 40-yard punt a moment ago. Falcons have had nothing going for them offensively so far. Riggs on the cutback up to the 35, 37-yard line. First period, Bartkowski did not complete a pass, and Riggs had 19 yards rushing, and that was their total offense. And if you take away the fact that Bartkowski was trapped once for a -7, Atlanta's total offense in the first period, a mere 12 yards.
Right, well, field position was not very favorable at all either, and I think they're just going to start getting under track, but they're going against the #2 defense in the NFL.
That do make a difference.
That do make a difference.
Second down 1 as Riggs picked up 9 on that carry.
Unbalanced line again.
Riggs fighting his way for the first down out to the 43-yard line. So the Falcons will have a 1st and 10 as they continue to go with that unbalanced line.
Yeah, they like to change up because it moves an odd defense. If I could explain this, it moves it to an even defense, and it makes it a little bit easier for the center if they move it over. Cliff Benson, number 87, the H-back, went in motion that time and really nailed a defensive lineman.
That, by the way, is Atlanta's first down of the day. 1st and 10 for the Falcons at the 43-yard line. Riggs tries the right side, finds some running room out of there, and goes across the 50 and down to the 47-yard line. You saw Cliff Benson, the H-back, number 87, leading the way. Can you pretty well follow that guy in motion, and that's where the play's going to go?
More often than not, they run toward the man in motion. Take a look at the offensive center, Jeff Van Note. 16 years in the league, blocking a 12-year veteran, number 74, Derlin Moore. 28 years of combined experience playing on each other. You think they know what they're doing, Frank?
Well, they're probably saying to each other,
hey, when are you going to retire?
I'll retire when you retire, or as soon as you retire, I'll retire.
You know,
close enough for measurement here.
Jeff Van Note says he really doesn't want to go out in the real world. And it was interesting what Dan Henning said about him yesterday, Frank.
Remember, he's in better shape now than he ever has been.
At 38 years old, he tested physically in all their exams better this year than last year.
That's a 1st down for Atlanta. Other scores: Miami over Washington 7-0 in the second period. St. Louis leading Green Bay by a touchdown. Most of these games in the second quarter. San Diego leading Minnesota. We've got Chicago over Tampa Bay in what looks like a defensive battle. Kansas City leading Pittsburgh. And the Giants leading Philadelphia. New England 14, Buffalo nothing.
Unbalanced line.
1st down at the 46-yard line of the Saints. Bartkowski looking for his first completion of the day. He's got it. It's Arthur Cox, the tight end, over on the far side, and Cox takes it down to the 40 or thereabouts before Bruce Clark gets up to him, number 75. Here's another score. Remember that game we did in the playoffs last year, San Francisco, Detroit?
Oh, that was a great football game. Remember Monty Clark praying on the field goal attempt at the end, and then he missed it, just off to the right.
Well, it looks like Eddie Murray has kicked at least one field goal, enabling Detroit to take the lead for the time being. 2nd down. 4 needed for the 1st down. Falcons trying to get a drive going. They've reached Atlanta's 40-yard line. Rather, the Saints 40. They started back at their own 30. Not much there for Riggs this time, but he fights and claws and scratches and crawls his way to the 35, and there goes another flag. So yet another penalty marker has been thrown in this penalty-scarred game so far. It will be holding. It will be against Atlanta, and it will cost them 10.
87 offense, holding, still 2nd down.
On Cliff Benson, the H-back.
Number 4 pick out of Purdue. You know, Atlanta is not a big holding team. They hold very little. Guys like Mike Ken have gone through a whole season like 1980 without having a holding penalty called on him.
One of the Saints was shaken up. It looks like Derlin Moore, number 74, the nose tackle who came into the game hurting a little bit. He's being tended to right now. We've got a timeout with the Saints leading the Falcons 7-5 in the second period. Well, Derlin Moore came into this game with a bruised knee. May have aggravated it a little.
It was, and I could tell yesterday in talking to him, he wasn't sure it was 100% ready to go yet.
Falcons with a second down, 14 from midfield. Benson in motion. Bartkowski on the rollout. Sideline throw and completes this one down the far sidelines to Jackson. Jackson 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. Fumbles the ball in the end zone, but it's ruled a touchdown. They say he was across the goal line before he fumbled. So it is an Atlanta touchdown as the big play man who has murdered the Saints before.
Yes.
On that Big Ben play several years ago in a game we did, does it again. On the receiving end of a 50-yard touchdown pass from Steve Bartkowski. And the Falcons jump back out in front 11-7.
You're going to see the receiver at the top of the screen, Alfred Jenkins, number 85, push deep. Now watch him push Waymer deep. Now watch him come back. Watch him work back toward the line of scrimmage. Waymer came to make the tackle, missed the tackle. There goes Alfred for the touchdown. A beautiful job of driving the defensive back deep and then coming back for the football.
Luckhurst with the extra point try as the fans react to the replay on the huge screen, and we got another penalty flag now. This is getting ridiculous. All right, now he's got to be across the plane of the goal line, and then he can fumble, and it's okay.
Let's see. He's got the ball in control right now. He's carrying it with both hands, believe it or not. Now there he is on the 2-yard line, 3-yard line. Did not have control. Did not have control. Now, the official standing right there, Bernie Cooker, is it? K-U-K-A-R, had good position there. He should be able to see that. You know, the other thing with the
Falcons, from our angle at least, and
from our angle,
we are in a 50-yard line angle. Looked like they got a big break there.
Everything happened so fast. The other thing is the ball was up in his chest area, and it was probably a little bit harder for the official to see.
Luckhurst after the 5-yard penalty, extra point try, still good. The Atlanta Falcons lead the New Orleans Saints 12-7 with 12:41 left in the first half.
I tell you, playing polo is a lot tougher than it looks.
Sure is.
And even though the horses do the running, you still can work up a thirst.
So after a chucker or two, we equestrians drink light beer from Miller.
Yeah, light tastes great, and it's got a third less calories than a regular beer.
And it's less filling.
And that's important, because tomorrow we're going to try our hand at water polo.
Yeah, I sure hope those horses can swim.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
Coming this fall from the executive producers of Flashdance. Dreams come true this fall on CBS.
There's the book on the Atlanta scoring drive. Bartkowski, the last 50 yards to Jackson. You recall Jackson missed most of last season after fracturing his clavicle early in the year.
I think he did it against Philadelphia.
The deep men duck it on the left and Jitter Fields on the right as Luckhurst prepares to kick off.
Let's see if Jitter has those same moves here.
This one's going to be Duckett at the 5. 15. He can move to 20, 25, 30, 35 across the 40 and up to the 44-yard line. Fine return by Kenny Duckett, backup wide receiver and kick return specialist. Curran, number 89, Willie Curran making the tackle for the Atlanta Falcons.
This was a really nice job. Look at him look the ball in. Now he starts straight upfield, picks up his blockers in front of him. Now, boom, he finds an owl right there. Nice little alley. Now he's working upfield. Look, nice block by the linebacker, 58 right there. Still moving straight upfield. Really a fine job. Willie Curran, number 89, makes the play.
A 39-yard return. We've seen some pretty good kick returns here in the first half of this football game. 1st and 10. Saints at their 43. The pitch to Rodgers. Tries the left side, cuts back in, then out. And is tackled at the 49-yard line by James Britt, who came up from the right corner position. Coming up right after football, U.S. Open tennis from Flushing Meadows. CBS Sports coverage continues. You'll see Jimmy Connors Past champion, of course, many times, and the number 3 seed this year behind Mr. McEnroe and Mr. Lindell. And he will take on André Lecomte of France. He is unseeded in the tournament. Last time out beat Peter Duhan. This will be a 3rd round action in the U.S. Open. 2nd down 4 from the 49. Again, the big man, Rogers. Oh, what a difference he makes. 1st down at the 45-yard line. He hurt his knee last year, and I was talking to him yesterday, and I asked him, did it bother you at all in training camp? He says, no, I tried to get it to swell up so I get some time off, but it wouldn't work.
Take a look at the tight end, number 85, at the left of your screen. Come off, blocking on the linebacker. See him doing a nice job. Doesn't have to whip him, just control him. Turns him outside. Rogers goes up inside, following Hoagie Gajon, number 46, blocking. Nice game, positive game.
1st and 10, the Saints at the Falcon 43-yard line. Atlanta leading 12-7. Richard Todd at the helm. 1st time out. Wayne Wilson, 45, 40, 35, 30, and down to the 31-yard line. Some of the Saints thought perhaps the Falcons were guilty of piling on.
Here's that same play they ran a little earlier. Now see a little screen pass out there. Now you'll see the lineman come up inside him. See the lineman right there? He turns up. Wayne Wilson does a nice job of avoiding. Gets up there for the 1st down. Atlanta's going to have some trouble defensing that play.
Well, they've had troubles in the past defensing the run.
And the pass.
And the pass, but mainly the run. 12-yard pickup and a 1st down at the 32 of the Falcons. Richard Todd looks at the Gajon. Okay, Gajon couldn't stay in bounds. Went out at the 24-yard line. Young man who played his college football at LSU and is a real battler.
He's one of those tough guys. I can remember visiting with him on campus at LSU in his draft year, and that would have been about 1981. Really a nice guy to play. He was a little too small to be an NFL fullback, and he said, Coach, I'll just work my tail off, and he did it. Here he is playing in the league.
He has really beefed up from 205 as a rookie to 230, which he weighs now. 2nd and 3 for the Saints at the Falcon 24-yard line. Wayne Wilson taking the pitch, cuts back inside, has the 1st down at the 18-yard line if everything's in order, and it appears to be. Boy, Brenner's doing a job clearing him out, the tight end, Hobie Brenner.
Right in the middle of your screen, number 85 is blocking now on John Rady, number 59. He's doing a good job. He's stretching the defense. Hoagie Gajon, number 46, goes in looking for the safety, number 27. He finds him. Another positive gain. See, someone's got to get in that backfield and make that play happen sooner so the defense can get after it. Inside-out pursuit.
1st down, Saints at the Atlanta 18. Todd. Out to Wilson, can't hold it. Some question as to whether or not that was a backward pass or a forward pass. It is ruled a forward pass, so it is incomplete. Had it been a backward pass or a lateral, it would have been a free ball, quite obviously.
Hobie Brenner is gimping off the field. I think he turned his ankle a little bit.
Keep in mind that the Saints have signed Junior Miller, the former Atlanta tight end who they picked up this week.
And he can certainly block. And as Bum said to us, he looks like a tight end.
2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line. Saints trailing 12-7, 2nd period. Falcons showing blitz. They're coming after Todd. He unloads. That looked to be a catchable ball by Goodlow, number 88.
Ball should have been caught, no question about it. That's what he gets paid to do. There was no underneath coverage. He's got to catch that. He did a nice job of coming back. Now they're coming after him. Watch, everybody's going to good pass rush coming after him. The outside linebackers are coming inside. See number 58 to the right of your screen, 59 to the left of your screen. Now there he's going to work back to the ball. There it is. Hits him right in the chest. Right in the chest. Just didn't get his hands up and cradle that football properly.
Todd is 5 of 11 for 82 yards. It is 3rd and 10 for the Saints at the 18-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Growth, number 86, in motion. Todd back to throw it, floats it out in the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown! Tyrone Young, number 89. Blum told us yesterday he was going to move those wide receivers in and out of there, and he's used about 5 so far.
He is a big, tall guy. You know, he's a young football player, a free agent. But he has the time right here to lay it up. See him lay it up real high. Now watch this. 6'7". Look at him reach up now. The defender knocked him out of bounds. That is a touchdown.
Anderson with the extra point try. The kick is good.
Bobby Butler's only 5'11".
Back out in front.
Excuse me, Frank.
The New Orleans Saints driving 56 yards. They got the great kickoff return. And then they move the rest of the way for the touchdown with the toss coming from Richard Todd to Tyrone Young, second-year receiver out of Florida. And Anderson will do the kicking off, possessor of one of the strongest legs in the National Football League. Hobie Brenner, we're told, bruised his foot, but will return. That's Sylvester Stamps, number 41, the deep man in the center of the kickoff return formation for Atlanta. Good, healthy boot. He'll stay in with this one. 9 yards deep in the end zone.
What a great kicker this guy is.
College football coming up on CBS just a couple of weeks away. The Washington Huskies and the Michigan Wolverines will open it up. A couple of pretty good football coaches clashing there.
No kidding. This Don James at the Huskies, he's tough to beat. I never had the opportunity to beat him. I mean, I had the opportunity. I just didn't take advantage of it. And then who beats Bo Schembechler very often? Not many. Should be a very good football game.
That's a week from next Saturday at 12 Eastern Time. The Washington Huskies and the Michigan Wolverines. Our score, the Saints 14, the Falcons 12. It has been interesting, although penalty marred here in the first half. 1st and 10. Atlanta with the football at the 20-yard line. Riggs. Looked like he almost ran away from Bartkowski that time. Bart had to kind of chase him to give him the handoff. Other scores in the National Football League. Again, most of these second period scores.
St. Louis, Green Bay. Everybody's playing real tight right now, aren't they? All even. Tampa, Chicago, Kansas City.
That's the most lopsided game we've had. So, yeah, can you believe that? Giants leading Philadelphia. New England over Buffalo. 2nd down, 9. As Bartkowski looks over the Saints defensive alignment. He's now hit 2 out of 4 for 54 yards. The big one, of course, the 50-yarder to Jackson. Airs it out again this time to White Shoes Johnson. He makes the catch and goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Pretty good concentration there.
I'll tell you, it takes a quarterback with a great arm to stick that one in the outside sideline. Now watch him go, drop straight back. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. He has good protection, right? People are picking up the stunts inside. Now he's looking to his left, and he drills this ball down the sideline. Tight coverage right there by Poe. Poe can't defend him. He shoves him out of bounds. I think we're going to see more of this tight coverage by corners, that bump and run technique or the press technique. Line right up on them and challenge them. The Raiders did so well in the Super Bowl against the Redskins last year. I think other people will follow suit.
1st and 10 for the Falcons at their 49-yard line after a 29-yard pickup on that throw. Bartkowski going to Jackson again, and Jackson nearly has his head taken off at the 43-yard line. He manages to hang on. It was Dennis Winston, number 56, who put the hit on him. Normally, when you go to a guy's head, I thought that's a penalty.
I don't know if he intentionally went to the head. I think the receiver tried to duck. See him slant to the inside coming from the right side of your screen. He has the ball tucked away now like a ball carrier. He's having a little trouble. Get it locked up. Here comes 56 right there. Boy, that is close. That is close. It still didn't look like he was flagrantly trying to go after the man's head. He was just trying to make the tackle.
An 8-yard pickup on the play. It is 2nd down and a long 2 needed for the 1st down, and they go to Riggs. Riggs has the first as he continues to play well in place of the injured William Andrews. That's a 1st down at the 39. I guess William is sitting back with that big cast on his leg in Atlanta watching this football game, and everyone in pro football wishes him well.
Oh, I know. We certainly do. We had so much fun watching him play last year, and I had great times, really coaching against him. The big thing he has to do is rehabilitation time. The operation is important, but the rehabilitation is the critical thing. Work his fanny off to get that thing ready, and he'll once again be a great back.
The time you saw a moment ago is time remaining in the 1st half. 1st down at the 39, blitz this time. Riggs, great job. 40, 30. Riggs to the 25 and down to the 24. And I imagine William Andrews is right proud of him.
I think Andrews is the kind of guy that's going to sit home and root for him on every snap because he's a true team football player. Right there showed the great burst of speed that this big man has.
Take a look at it from
now
the
watch
end zone.
William Andrews, the fullback. See him step to the right now. See him now. He's going to cut back. Look at him cut back. He gets a nice block there by Ken, 78. Now watch him go. A receiver block downfield. Now it's just physical one-on-one. Nice burst of speed.
Poe drags him out of bounds at the 24, but that's another Atlanta first down. This has been seesaw all the way ever since we started. Bartkowski looking for 6. Pumps it once, can't get rid of it. Loses the football. It is... Well, we'll let Gene Barth unpile it.
I think the Saints got it. Atlanta got it back.
They've given no indication yet. Now they do. It is Atlanta's ball at the 33-yard line. One pump is all he got that time.
Right, now you're going to have to give credit to the secondary downfield. See, he has time to throw, wanted to throw, couldn't go. Now here comes Whitney Paul, 51, right around behind him. Knocks the ball out, and there it is on the ground. Now that's the mad scramble. Who's going to get it? It's a hot potato. Bart got it himself. Well, I tell you, I hate to see quarterbacks with their hands on the ground reach out for loose footballs because someone clamps on that thing, he won't throw the ball for a month.
That'll scare the daylight out of a coach. Second down, 19 after the loss on the play. Riggs has come out, and Lynn Kane, number 21, is now in at the tailback position.
A little better receiver.
White Shoes Johnson in motion on this passing situation. They go to Kane. Kane with a nice hole up the middle. Goes inside the 20 down to the 17-yard line. There's a flag thrown across the way.
I expected him to use Kane in more in a passing situation, and they ran him a nice inside play.
This guy is no slouch, Lynn Kane. He played well several years ago. Then had some injury problems, had a tough time coming back. Penalty's going to be against the Saints, as Gene Barth would indicate. And we'll let him give you the official call.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 44 defense, a push in the face. First down.
David Waymer, the cornerback, number 44.
That's not his style. He's pretty clean-cut, fine young man from Notre Dame. Visiting with him yesterday, he was looking forward to changing up his style of play a little bit this year, Frank, to being more aggressive, more tight coverage on people, and play with more confidence.
I asked him about the Falcon receivers. He says, I don't think of the opposing team by receivers. You got to put the quarterback and the receivers together. He says he thinks of both, and that's the way he prepares. The penalty enables the Falcons to pick up a first down at the 12-yard line of the New Orleans Saints. Riggs is back in there, takes the handoff, fights his way to about the 9. Just over 6 minutes left to play in the first half, and the Saints lead the Falcons by a score of 14-12, and we have had some excitement so far.
This is...
You're talking about Waymer a moment ago. Watch that play.
See, he's up there in that press position, bump and run inside. He's got his hands up. He jams right there. One hand inadvertently hit him in the face mask right there. I didn't see any obvious foul.
Second down, 7 for the Falcons at the Saint 9. Riggs blasting his way forward.
The H-back did a real nice job then of moving in motion and going in and trapping that nose guard. And that is a devastating block on a nose guard. Now, the nose guard now is Don Thorpe, number 96, a rookie out of the University of Illinois, playing in there in the place of Derlin Moore.
You know, you said he goes against Jeff Van Note. As you look at Dan Henning, there's the way they signal the plays in. Gary Petz, who is one of the assistant coaches, the man in the red shirt, is the one doing the signaling. There's Gary Petz.
Petz has put on little pots.
Yes. Third down. They need 2 for the first down. 5 for the touchdown. The give is to Riggs, and he's down around the 3-yard line. He's very close to the first down. Falcon players indicating, well, some think they got it, others think they're a little bit short. Let's see.
Fourth down.
Yeah, Gene Barth indicates no measurement necessary. It'll be 4th down. And now Dan Henning has a decision to make. Do you go for it?
The way that New Orleans is moving the ball, I would say you go for it.
He's sending an extra tight end in Landrum.
Right. New Orleans is moving the ball, and 3 points may not be the difference at the end of this football game.
4th down, inches for the first down. 3 yards from the goal line. They go to Riggs. He has the first down. He does not have the touchdown. I don't believe he's down around the 1. Oh, there it is. There's the indication he did get across.
I haven't seen it defined yet, have you?
He got over, they say. It's a touchdown for the Falcons.
Just the OI lead play. Now, see the H-back, number 47, is going to kick out right there. Now the fullback's leading, and here comes that big back banging up inside. He got it in there, it looks like.
Got that shoulder across just barely.
I guess so, Frank. I'll tell you, they have better eyes than I do. Say, you know, 230 pounds, and you know, run a 4.6 40. You go in there with a lot of momentum, a lot of power.
Luckhurst with the extra point tries. The Falcons have recaptured the lead with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the first half. The kick is good. Atlanta leading New Orleans 19-14 in a back-and-forth ball game. An impressive 80-yard drive. Bartkowski now 4 out of 6 for 92 yards. Climaxed by the 3-yard run by Riggs. As Luckhurst prepares to kick off. I think the Falcons have got the hat trick now. They scored a touchdown, a field goal, and a safety. Actually scored 2 touchdowns.
I think they're kicking that ball away from Jitter Fields.
This is to Duckett at the 10. He didn't do a bad job last time.
No, he didn't.
This time he gets across the 20, and that's it. Thomas Benson making the stop, number 53. Coming up next week on CBS. Preceded, of course, by the NFL Today. One of our key features, the Dallas Cowboys against the New York Giants. And many of you will be watching that interesting quarterback situation. And next week, Phyllis George is going to be talking to the new Cowboys starting quarterback, Gary Hogeboom, on the NFL Today about this controversy in which Hogeboom has now supplanted the veteran Danny White. Any thoughts on that yourself?
Well, I feel sorry for Danny White. You know, he's been a fine quarterback, and it's a little tougher to be considered a great quarterback in Dallas because your win-loss record, if you win one more than you lose, you fail. If you make the playoffs and lose, you're a loser. And if you go to the NFC Championship game in Dallas and lose the game, you're a loser. And it really makes it tougher on a quarterback. And plus, in Dallas, he takes out most of the heat.
Roy Harris, number 75, a rookie defensive tackle from Florida, limped off the field. Atlanta with the big edge in this period, certainly in total offense, after they were almost completely stymied in the first quarter of play. Falcons showing the blitz. Richard Todd back to throw it. Hit hard as he delivers the football.
Frank, that was an audible again. He read man-to-man coverage because the weak safety was rotated over in run force position by the tight end. And
that was Ricky Bryan, number 77, the number 1 draft pick, who
made a little
put the hit on
token
him.
fake, goes back, looks there, turned to his right. Now he's trying to get deep, and before he can get rid of the ball, there's the defender.
Bryan is quite a prospect. Falcons went heavy for defense since they needed help in that department. And their top 5 draft picks, all defense. And the top 3 were all from the University of Oklahoma. 2nd and 10. Todd trying to set up the screen. Does it to Guyjon at the 20. Hokie Guyjon, hurdling a couple of tacklers, is out to the 28-yard line. A little bit short of the first down.
He really throws his body in there, doesn't he? Hokie just gets that football under, and he's going to go make as many yards as anybody will allow him. Look at it. From 205 to 230 pounds, it's just a few years of hard work and dedication.
10th round draft pick in 1981 out of LSU, who started 12 games last year. 3rd down. 3 needed for the first down. Saints trying to keep this drive going at their 28-yard line. Under 4 minutes left in the first half. One back setup with Wilson. Intended for Lindsey Scott. Penalty marker is thrown on Bobby Butler. I assume it's on the defender.
Could be on the offender.
Not the way the Falcons are reacting. Scott, of course, the former University of Georgia star.
Number 1 pick.
Interference, 23 defense, first down.
Boy, they're airing that ball out, aren't they? They're airing that ball deep. Again, they have some good pressure coming on him right there. Linebacker's committed. He lays it up deep. Here it is right now. Let's see. There's Scott on the outside, number 80. It looks like there is definitely contact right there with his right shoulder. I just feel maybe it would have been better to throw that flag a step sooner, a little bit quicker, because the interference occurred prior to the ball getting there.
First down at the 37 of Atlanta. That's a 35-yard penalty. Todd rushed for Rogers. 35 down to the 30-yard line.
Don Smith, number 65, had some good heat on him that time, and he just went to his checkoff man. He wanted to throw the ball to the tight end to the right side of your screen. Now, see, makes a little play-action fake, goes back. He's looking over there to the right side of your screen. He can't find it. Now he just checks it down, then pow, Don Smith comes in and gives him a good shot. But not an illegal hit.
Pickup of 7 on the play. It is 2nd and 3 from the 30. Rogers taking the pitch, running room over the left side. Another flag is down as he picks up what would have been a first down, but again the penalty marker.
Hobie Brenner, the tight end that time, just buried John Rady, number 59, the outside linebacker. Must have called holding, huh?
It's against the Saints, so it'll wipe out the gain, the first down, and set them back.
Take a look at the tight end, number 85, the left side of your screen. Now watch him. He's out on John Rady.
Holding.
Now he just takes him right on down to the ground. They called holding there. I don't really see the holding. The official on the far side could see better than I can from sitting on the opposite side, I'm sure.
I thought it was a clean pin and takedown.
Yeah.
It's like a wrestler would do, huh?
Well, Rady drove underneath and almost went down on his own.
2nd down, 13 after the penalty. The Saints push back to the 40-yard line. Scott to the right side, Goodlow to the left. Pretty good speed on the wings right now. Todd, sideline throw for Scott. Good defense this time by Butler. Number 23, Bobby Fomer, number 1 draft pick.
Watch Butler on this play now. He gets a nice drive on the football. The receiver right here to the left of your screen, he's driving now. Butler, number 23, to the right of your screen, now in the middle. Now watch him drive back to the football. Super job. Kept his weight down, moved his shoulders forward, and drove through the football.
Butler's college coach, or one of his coaches in college at Florida State, Jack Stanton, has now joined the club as a defensive backfield coach. So they're reunited. 3rd down, 13.
Looks like they're coming after him, Frank. Looks like they're coming after him. See, they're audibling. They're audibling.
He's brought those 2 backs in the block once again. Todd again looking downfield. Intercepted by Kenny Johnson at the 12-yard line. And he is stopped standing up. Johnson took a swipe at Jeff Groth right in front of the official. That's not too smart. And, of course, the flag was immediately thrown. Gary Austin, the side judge, was over there. Number 34, the official. And he saw Johnson take that swipe.
With a personal foul after the play was dead on 37, after the interception.
So Johnson lost his cool, at least for the moment, and it costs the Falcons field position. And the penalty will move it back to the 6-yard line. 2 minutes, 39 seconds left to play in the first half. Falcons have been penalized 8 times here in the first half for 91 yards. That's a lot of penalties in one half.
Can you see right here? Let's see if they can find out. Oh, there it is. He pushed him with his right hand. That's a personal foul.
Bailey to the right side, Jackson to the left. And Bartkowski gives it to Riggs. We were talking to Gerald yesterday, and he said when Dan Henning arrived on the scene, he didn't quite know what to expect. He was very confused because he was lining up in the backfield with Andrews, liked the way things were going, and all of a sudden came the one-back offense, and he was more or less out of a job.
He said, well, there's only one guy back there, and I can pretty much figure out who it's going to be, and it isn't going to be me. And that really bothered him for a while, but now he's adjusted to it and likes the fact that he's back there.
Frank Lieber along with Dick Vermeil at the Louisiana Superdome. That's the time remaining in the first half. Seesaw football game. Dan Henning, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and just in his 2nd year. And, of course, Bum in his 10th year as a head coach in the NFL and his 4th here in New Orleans. And he has got the fans stirred up. You know, this is the only team in the National Football League that's never had a winning season or never been to the playoffs.
That's right. Here they are in that
Second down, 8, deep in their own territory. Riggs taking the pitch from Bartkowski out to the 15-yard line. Let's see where they mark it. He's going to be pretty close to the first down yardage here. They'd like to get a little breathing space. Looks like we'll get the 2-minute warning prior to the next snap here. They'll mark it at the 16. They need less than a yard for the first down. Gerald Riggs, who's had a busy first half, he's already had 18 carries for 85 yards. What did he tell us yesterday? He wanted to carry it 30 times or something?
Well, if he carries it more than 33 times, he breaks their record.
Timeout. 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left to play in the first half. Falcons 19, the Saints 14. The Falcons have an important 3rd down and 1 upcoming from their own 15-yard line. Atlanta with the big edge in the rushing department thanks to Riggs, who has picked up 85 of those 113 yards.
Here's that unbalanced line.
And Riggs it is again on his 19th carry, bulling his way forward, and should have enough for the first down to keep the drive going, keep the clock moving. I'm sure the Falcons will be content here to just let this clock run out since they are saddled with rather poor field position. There are only 9 players left on the Saints football team who were here prior to the arrival of Bum 4 years ago. That's already his career game high, those figures. We've got better than a half to go. Here's Riggs again around the right side.
See that little burst of speed toward the sideline?
May have been a fumble. Ball was wrestled loose. The Saints have recovered. Gary was shaken up on the play, number 20.
Watch the fullback now. He tucks it underneath there. He's got it in his right arm. He thought about cutting back. Now he uses his speed coming inside out on him. There's Ricky. There he is, Jackson, number 57. Russell Gary's going to go over and scramble for the football. I could not see it go out, but it's obvious that it's out of there.
And Gary, the defensive back, comes up with the fumble recovery, and that's the one thing the Falcons didn't want to have happen. Gary was shaken up a little bit. He's missed the last couple of preseason games with a sore knee, but he says he's all right. And now the Saints have a chance to take the lead with 1:16 left to play in the half, and a first down at the Atlanta 20-yard line. Richard Todd pitching to Rogers. Guyson leading the interference, and Rogers is down to the 15. Picked up 5. John Rady, number 59, on the tackle.
Atlanta has changed their defense over on the tight end side in front of Hobie Brenner now. They're moving the defensive end out on him, who's a big, strong man, and moving the linebacker back inside. Hobie still did a pretty good job of blocking on Don Smith, number 65.
Well, they like that left side, don't they, the Saints?
Yes, they do. They have Dave LaFari over there and Brad Edelman, 2 fine football players, and they're going to run behind them.
Timeout. Saints are on the move. They have a second down, 4. There's your timeout situation. Saints have only 1 left. New Orleans operating from the Atlanta 15, trying to capitalize on this turnover. Richard, that time we had a flag, and I have to believe that Gary Burley was a little anxious, over anxious.
A little anxious here, playing his first game with his new team. Going to impress people.
Offside, Atlanta, as Burley tried to blow through there before the ball was snapped.
Watch the right corner of your screen, right down to the right corner of your screen. He's coming from the tackle position. Oh, a little early. Go back there, Burley. Todd saying, what are you doing here? Get away from me.
That'll move it down to the 10. And will give the Saints a first down. They have 1 timeout left, 1:06 remaining in the half. They trail by 5, 19-14. Todd goes to Guyson up the middle, and Hokie Guyson takes it to the 4. Hurry up offense for the Saints. They have 1 timeout left. The clock is moving. That's the time remaining in the first half. 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Rogers, left side. Rogers is over. Touchdown.
look at the right side of your screen. Now watch Hoagie Gajon, the fullback, 46, kick out on the defensive back, 27 right there. He turns back up inside. Look at that. Look at that power fighting your way. How'd you like to carry through that crowd, Frank?
Oh, that would be tough.
Huh? Kenny Johnson was in on there. Tommy Pridemore, 27, trying to get up there and make the play. Couldn't get at it.
Anderson with the extra point effort is good with 41 seconds to go. The Saints have recaptured the lead, 21-19. We gave you rig stats a moment ago. Rodgers has not had a bad first half. He's had 11 carries for 65 yards. So things interesting here at the Louisiana Superdome. These teams have played some great football games in the past. This looks like it's going to be another one. And Bum Phillips got to be feeling a little better right now. Halftime, just 41 seconds away. And what do we have for you? All kinds of interesting things upcoming. We'll take you back to the studio in New York. Scores and highlights with Brent Nerve and a report from the U.S. Open. That and a lot more coming up at intermission. Dan Henning, the head coach of the Falcons, trying to get his team back in the playoffs after a record of 7-9 last year. They started off very slowly, had a record of only 2 wins against 5 losses. He's had a lot of pressure he's been under. His dad is seriously ill. He's been commuting back east. Of course, the loss of Andrews had to upset him greatly. Morton Anderson will kick off. And once again, the single deep man is Sylvester Stamps, and they go with the short kick. Little number that's fielded at the 35-yard line by Alma Matthews. So the Falcons have put it in play at their own 35. Coming up next Sunday on CBS, a full schedule of NFL games highlighted by the matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Giants are ahead of the Eagles right now in their opening game. Cowboys, of course, don't play until tomorrow, but we get a first-hand look at the quarterback controversy in Dallas on the NFL Today as Phyllis George talks to Gary Hogeboom. And for those of you not watching that game, you fans of the Falcons and the Saints will see your own teams at 12:30 Eastern Time.
We'll be in Atlanta next week, Frank, doing
That's right. First and 10 at the 34-yard line. Bartkowski comes out throwing. Another penalty marker goes down as he hits White Shoes over on the far sideline for just a couple of yards on the play.
They might have called an illegal chuck. I'm not sure. No, illegal movement. Yeah.
This will be the 10th penalty against Atlanta in the first half. I mean, that's more than you usually get in a ball game.
It really is. It's way above average, and I think it's above average for them. They use a lot of formations, do a lot of things in terms of movement.
The man in motion, number 85, was going forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty.
The more things you do like that, the more things you expose yourself.
Alfred Jackson, number 85, is the man the referee Gene Barth was talking about.
Look what happened when he started to go forward a little early. See him turn up early right there? Now watch this. Go boom! Right up underneath the chin. That is a legal chuck inside that 5-yard zone.
Courtesy of Ricky Jackson. First down, 15. Again, it's Jackson in motion. This time the handoff to Lynn Kane. And Kane is out to the 35 to the 38-yard line, as it now appears, that the Falcons going to let the clock run out. What a first half. 2-point ball game. 21-19. The Saints leading the Falcons. It is back and forth, back and forth.
Bartkowski is really good in these situations, and New Orleans can't afford to relax, regardless of the 26-second situation. He has won 7 games in his career, Frank, with the final drive of the game. You know, he has the great poise, the great experience, and you've got to be careful relaxing and relying on the clock to stop the offense. It won't happen.
Well, the Falcons have apparently called a timeout, so maybe they're going to go with one of these Big Ben type plays or something. I don't know.
They won a great big game down here in 1980 on a Hail Mary.
I was here.
I was coaching, and I remember Atlanta that kept them going toward the playoff race.
Remember the last time you were in this stadium?
Yeah. Remember that? We just saw that guy go in motion and go illegal procedure going forward. That happened to us here, and it cost us a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
In the Superdome. against the Raiders.
The old Oakland Raiders, now the Los Angeles Raiders.
Well, Bartkowski has got his marching orders. Second down, 5 needed for the first down. Falcons at their 39. That's the time left in the first half. And should they choose to use them, the Falcons have 2 timeouts left. White Shoes in motion. He's going to air it out. Goes over the middle to Billy White Shoes Johnson at the 49-yard line. And they'll stop it. Falcons use yet another timeout, which will leave them with 1.
Remember, they have a very fine field goal kicker in Mick Luckhurst. The guy is very good field goal kicker. In fact, in the preseason, he is 2 from 2 between the 40 and the 49, so he can kick that long field goal.
Again, Bartkowski over to get his instructions from his head coach, Dan Henning. Bart, yesterday, when we talked to him, he indicated after he gets out of football, he is thinking very seriously of going into the ministry. He's very involved with kids. And by the way, he wanted us to make sure that we said hello to his youngster, Phil, 3-year-old.
Yeah, birthday was it, or just wanted to say hello? What was it?
I think he said his first time he's watched the ball game and knows what's going on.
At 3 years old, he could watch the ball game and understand what his dad does for a living.
That's right.
I think Bart said not so much as a professional in the ministry, just as a layman, contribute his time and efforts to helping young people. And he feels that the more people that have established themselves like he has as a so-called sports celebrity should be trying to make this contribution.
If they get close enough, maybe they'll let Luckers try that drop kick, which he did in the Denver preseason game on an extra point try. Confused everybody. The opposition, the officials. As it turned out, the kick was no good, but Henning says he could kick that drop kick from 50 yards.
Running. He can do it running as well. He was practicing in pregame warm-up.
First down for the Falcons at their 49. 18 seconds left in the half. Bartkowski goes over the middle to White Shoes. 50, 45, down to the 42-yard line. Clock continues to roll now inside of 10 seconds. They do have 1 timeout left. I don't know if they're going to get this play off. Now they're going to stop it. We have a tape of that drop kick. This is something you probably haven't seen in the National Football League maybe in years and years.
There's Luckhurst, number 18, standing right between Petz and Dan Henning. Now watch this. The ball is a direct snap back to him. Now some of you fans that watched football as a kid 35, 40 years ago might have seen this. I have never seen it in a football game. Now he drops it down. It's a legal kick. Up it goes. It's over the right corner of the goalpost. No good. Can you imagine if he'd have made that thing?
Well, it confused the officials a little bit, and they finally got their act together, and they said it was no good. But who knows? You know, the reason they don't do it now is because the football is a different shape.
Yeah, the football is not as round as it used to be. And Henning said, if we can't do something like that to have fun in the preseason, when can we do it? You know, good point.
Falcons are out of timeouts now, so we are down to the last play of the first half, and this is about the spot, as I remember. And I was here in 1980 for that game where he unloaded that big man, had all the wide receivers to the right side, threw it down toward the end zone, and he batted it around on about the 5-yard line, and Jackson came down with it for a touchdown that won the ball game for him.
The problem with the Falcons in regard to wide receivers is most of the wide receivers are in that 6-foot range and less, the 5'10", 5'11" range, and they don't have that big, tall 6'5" wide receiver. They could put a tight end or Benson out there, 87. Yeah, they have. He's a 6'3" guy.
Now they got 2 wideouts to the left and 1 to the right. Last play of the first half. Bartkowski lets it go into the end zone. Actually, short of the end zone. It is knocked down, intended for Bailey out there, but he had no shot.
Tell you, he hit that play last year against Green Bay at the end of the season. Remember, to Stacey Bailey?
That's the end of the first half here in New Orleans with the Saints leading the Falcons 21-19.
Quality and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. Apple Computer, makers of the new Apple IIc, a serious computer of incredible proportions. And by Quaker State Motor Oil, now in new easy-to-pour and easy-to-reseal plastic bottles.
Welcome back to New York. I'm Brent Musburger along with Irv Cross. Dan Marino's having a great day, and so too the New Orleans Saints. They lead the Atlanta Falcons right now at the half, 21-19. A couple of touchdowns for Big George Rogers, of course, in that game. And here's the game of the day. Miami over Washington 21-10. And Marino has thrown 3 touchdown passes. He's at least 13 of 16 now. He's hit Duper from 26 yards and 74 yards. And now he has thrown 6 yards to Jim Jensen in that game. St. Louis and the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have just scored again, and now they lead the Cardinals. Irv Cross has picked to win it all this year, but they'll regroup in the second half. It is 20-7. San Diego and Minnesota. Dan Fouts has thrown 2 touchdown passes, 21 and 18 yards to Wes Chandler. Pete Johnson scored on a 1-yard burst. Tampa Bay and Chicago. Many of you are watching this game. The Bears leading at the half, 13-7. Kansas City and Pittsburgh, Wild and Woolley with the Chiefs leading in Pittsburgh, 24-17. David Woodley, incidentally, went 80 yards to rookie wide receiver Luis Lips in that game. Philadelphia and the Giants, and Phil Simms has had a good afternoon.
Just goes to show what he can do when he's healthy, Brent. Watch the sequence of plays. Simms going back on a drop-back pass, hits Zeke Moat, number 84, for touchdown pass number 1 on the day. A few plays later, taking play action, going deep this time to Byron Williams for a 65-yard scoring strike. Bobbles the ball a little bit there, but hangs on for the score. But Phil Simms is not through yet. Phil, who'd been down with an illness all week long, was expected to be fairly weak today, started, and here's touchdown pass number 3 to Bob Johnson, a rookie out of Kansas, and the Giants have this game well in hand, 21-6.
Indeed. Now, the New England Patriots, and a lot of folks expect big things from them in the AFC this year. 21-3, they're over the Bills. They're in the third quarter there. In San Francisco and Detroit, 14-13 right now. The 49ers lead the Lions. The NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local station. All right, Pat, and we'll continue now with our coverage of the NFL on CBS as we throw you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying.
We're at halftime in New Orleans with the Saints leading the Atlanta Falcons 21-19. More upcoming at halftime in just a moment.